And we're back. Still, shoot, did I accidentally skip stuff? I accidentally skipped stuff. Still trying to process this information. Volume, thank you. There we go. We'll save Kokoro, Hattori, and anyone else convenient. Exactly. That's our plan. Why would Satoru try to do that? He's already said he wants to. That's his plan. That's one of his 3 main goals in this game. No matter how unbelievable it was as a mere theory, it was unmistakably the reality. And that's why my comprehension was really honestly, seriously, maddeningly, cursingly being torn apart. My mind struggled violently against the very notion. It seems you still can't accept it. Oh well. Shall I show you proof? Of what? The space-time transfer, of course. That said, it's impossible to demonstrate a large-scale transfer like what's happening to you. I have a prototype of a space-time transfer device right here. If I show you the device in action, then you'll be convinced, right? Saying that, Enomoto disappeared through the iron door beside the supercomputer. After a while, he returned holding a complicated-looking piece of equipment. This is the prototype of the space-time transfer device. I'll give you a rough explanation. Jesus fuck! Inside the box in the middle is the origin of the EPR pair, where the particles intertwine with each other on the quantum level. And those 2 boxes at either side represent Alice and Bob, the sender and receiver. Enough showing off. I'll understand once I see it. Get started already. That's enough, is it? Let's put some nice hot coffee inside Alice and Bob, shall we? 2 cups of coffee were in Enomoto's hands. One was a white cup on a white saucer. Coffee inside had milk in it. There was a black cup on a black saucer. The coffee inside was black. Now they're boxes? Enomoto placed 1 cup in each of the Alice and Bob boxes and switched on the device. With a dull whine, it began to operate. By the way, Alice is on Mount Okakura of 2011, and the white saucer is Mount Okakura's transfer circle. So think of the white cup as Fuyukawa Kokoro, while Bob on the Aosage Island of 2012, the black saucer is Aosage Island circle. Black cup will be you, Yukito Satoru. I see. And? Enomoto then brought Bob's coffee to his lips. Delicious. Coffee is most definitely best black, and freshly brewed at that. And on the other side, Enomoto then put the coffee back in place, and this time took a sip of Alice coffee. Coffee with milk in it is the worst. Coffee can't even be called coffee anymore when it's been contaminated like this. Frowning, Enomoto returned the cup. Don't you agree? This conversation's kind of straying off topic, which is a completely new concept for me. Stop drinking, Bob, you murderer! That's not true. This is an essential part of the process. So how about you? Do you enjoy a coffee black or with milk? With milk, isn't it obvious? Coffee without milk is like steak with no sauce. And besides, isn't black coffee hard in the stomach? I have a long life drinking that all the time, you know. Mind your own business. Our opinions don't match up at all, Enomoto said with a bitter smile. Why don't you have a sip? Confirm it with your own tongue. Of this? I asked while pointing at the Alice and Bob coffees with my finger. The coffee you drank. That's right. Don't worry, there isn't any poison in it. I drank it too, right? And I don't have any strange illness either. My motives are pure. Relax. Well, I won't force you. Is that important I drink this just for the sake of proof? Of course. I looked back and forth between 2 cups of coffee. Just drink it. Took a timid sip from each coffee in turn. How is it? The Alice one, in other words, the one with milk, is definitely better. I answered, returning coffee to its place. I see. Very well. Let's continue. Continue? What am I supposed to do? No need to do anything. Just watch. Enomoto and I kept a tight watch over the device. It sure doesn't look like anything's happening. Even now, just watch. Enomoto checked his wristwatch. Any moment now. The very moment, Alice transformed. In that instant, the cup went from white to black. The coffee inside went black as well. It transferred. Then the coffee inside that cup is... Exactly. The future. The information inside Bob's cup from 1 minute in the future had transferred alongside Alice's. And in just 1 more minute, another minute passed. Bob's cup transformed as well. The cup and saucer went from black to white. Now there was milk in the coffee. Past. Past. Information Alice's cup from 1 minute in the past and transferred to Bob's. The future. That's precisely it. You understand quite well. I suppose we'll trust you until we stab you dead. This is a transfer. Quantum teleportation. Now then, try taking a sip from each of them and comparing them again. Huh? Just do it. You'll understand once you drink. Trying to set aside my doubts, took another sip from each coffee. Eh? How's it now? Alice's, in other words the black coffee, was really good. Edamoto smiled in satisfaction. What does that even mean? You don't understand, do you? Even though the material of the cup has changed, the concept of its deliciousness remains. Doesn't this remind you of something? Consciousness. Yes, the residual consciousness phenomenon. Even if your body's and surrounding places change, your consciousness remained where it was. Here ends the demonstration. Wait, trying to explain something as vague as taste. Are you saying the taste is unreliable? We're back with R11! Yes, and lots of things are happening! Holy cow! That's right. Taste is subjective and can change completely depending on how you feel at the time. Well, I can't deny that. I told you before, didn't I? Even if you think about it, the truth won't appear. Don't let yourself be trapped by so-called common sense. Take in what you feel. But that's... Let me ask you a supplementary question. What's the meaning behind the repetitions of this transfer? How can you explain it? I was truly at a loss for words. Do you believe me now? Believe, he says. This I had no choice but to believe him. It's in my nature to be skeptical of things like this, but between everything I experienced up until now and the phenomenon just occurred right before my eyes, there's no room for doubt. This, no matter what anyone may say, was reality. But if it's already been decided that the space-time transfer phenomenon is the truth, it creates another new question. And that's, why? I utter, what do you mean, why? Why is something like this necessary? Why a space-time transfer? It's because of this phenomenon. Because of this ridiculous phenomenon. We... How much suffering, how much pain have we had to bear? Being pushed to our limits with this grim reaper ever breathing down our necks. Stuck in the ongoing turmoil, Kokoro and I have been driven right to the verge of madness. Edamoto didn't answer. Not saying a thing, he continued staring at me. Answer me! Why would you do such a ridiculous thing? Laughter. He laughed. So, I figured this was obvious for some reason, even though I don't know why I would assume you would think I'd think this. But obviously Satoru's involved in the experiment. In fact, he might even be one of the people running it. Hence why Edamoto's willing to tell him everything. His shoulders shook as he laughed as though it were the funniest thing he'd ever heard. What? What's so funny? But it is funny. Terribly, extraordinarily funny. So funny I can't help myself. After all, I never expected I'd hear that line from you of all people. Pardon me. For the current use, such a question is only a matter of course. Allow me to answer. The space-time transfer, the reason for the entire thing began, the purpose of it. That is... Edamoto suddenly raised his finger toward me. That is something you should know better than anyone, right? What? My voice cracked. It took all I had to just say that. Reason is something I should know better than anyone? Maybe Satoru was an absolute dick to this guy before he started, and he just trying to mess with us. I could see that. I could see that. That's my answer. There's no point in saying anything more. At that moment, something completely different popped in my mind. About the various problems I needed to solve. I've combined them into one large proposition. Uppercase R. Personality transfer. The goals I had both at Onosage Island and Mount Akakura, Utsumi and Hattori. I thought. And then I suddenly realized. No, rather than realize, I remembered. I'd forgotten all about it. Proposition R had yet another part. About me, the person known as Yukito Satoru. I didn't know anything about who I was. Hey, what is it? At that moment, I lost myself. So the strings of marionettes had been taken up by someone else. I lost all control of my body. Calm down. Calm down. You won't solve anything by going berserk. Shut up. Shut up. Nothing matters anymore. I don't care about any of it. Everything. All and everything here. What are you saying? Hey, step out of it. Enomoto tried to regain his hold over me. Don't touch me! He slapped his hands away. Don't you dare touch me! I had the large machine besides Enomoto. The central part of the facility, the system supercomputer. I'm sure it's this, right? This is the source, right? What? This is a space-time transfer device, isn't it? Then I'll break it. I'll break it. I'll destroy it completely. I'll end this idiotic farce for good. Thrusting Enomoto aside, I struck the supercomputer with a ferocious roundhouse kick. However, it was sturdier than I expected. I didn't even make a dent. Damn! I kicked it twice, then 3 times without hesitation. Let alone dent it. I haven't even managed to scratch it. The thing sure is durable. Hey, stop it! Cut it out! Enomoto pinned me down. I moved to secure both my arms behind my back. Give it up! Destroying it won't change anything. The transfers won't stop. Shut up! Let me go! Stay out of my way! Wrenching my body with all my strength, I shook Enomoto off. Ugh! Enomoto fell to his back. At that moment, his sunglasses flew off and spun in the corner of the room. Stop it! Shut up! I glimpsed the chair in the corner of my eye. I could smash it with that. Because it exists. Because this damn computer exists. Everyone's suffering all because of this damn computer. Damn it, go to hell! I told you to stop! Enomoto suddenly leapt to his feet, unleashing a deranged scream at me. Are you trying to ruin all my plans? The next instant, Enomoto blocked my path to the supercomputer with terrific speed. A chill ran down my spine. I could feel a bloodthirsty aura. Reflexively, I lifted a chair and hurled it towards Enomoto. Enomoto nimbly turned, deflecting the flying chair with one kick. As you are right now, you are a dangerous variable. I can no longer allow you to go freely. You insolent nuisance. In Enomoto's eyes was the clear intent to kill. He was no longer the calm, collected man he was before. Conversely, seeing Enomoto like that forced me to return to my senses. Cold sweat trickled down my back. This is bad. Warning signals lit up in my brain. Enomoto thrust his hand in his breast pocket and glared at me. A switchblade. I don't think I need the tips to know what a switchblade is. Such a roller coaster of emotion. But we're gonna do it anyway. Because at least it's not science jargon. A switch-deployed knife. Their use is highly restricted by law in Japan. None are produced or sold within the country. Also called a switch knife or a jackknife. I didn't know it's restricted in Japan. Enomoto gripped it in his hand. I'd rather avoid doing this, but you've left me no other choice. This feeling, same feeling I felt before, a killing intent as cold as ice. Was it him all along? No! He specifically told us he was just leaving us alone until now. Sorry, I have to move my chair around a bit. Have you prepared yourself? Yukito Sadaru, I'm going to erase you. Enomoto suddenly narrowed his eyes. I'll kill you! Raising the knife high overhead, Enomoto attacked. Immediately reversing direction, I dashed for the door. I had to run. I flew out of the door and into the basement storeroom. Total darkness greeted me. For some reason, the lights in the basement were off. Had Enomoto cut the power? No, that didn't matter right now. At any rate, I had to get out of here as soon as possible. They did say that he's from a business that works mostly in Germany, but also Japan. So, it's potentially, yes, he's not from Japan, he might be German. At the moment I thought that, I tripped over a wooden box. Ugh! Damn it! Losing my balance, I fell. The concrete floor rose up before my eyes, as though I were falling in slow motion. And just because it's restricted doesn't mean it's impossible. I mean, he could have just gotten it illegally. Am I going to die? Those words scrolled through my mind. Oh, we don't see who stabs him. But Yuri said we did it. Did Hattori save us? Okay, hold on. We know more about the transfers and how they work now, so I can work with other theories. Hattori, my theory is that when we transfer, she does as well. That theory is strengthened by the fact that she doesn't speak to Kokoro at all, but she does speak when we're around, when Satoru's around. But okay, so just because we're assuming that we're the one that's doing the consciousness transfer doesn't necessarily mean we're the only one. After all, just because we've noticed that she speaks only when one person's around doesn't mean that he observed it as well. So it's potentially possible that she does the same thing. But what about Uni? He doesn't transfer at all. He only transferred once. And Yukiko was best girl, she saves us. Potentially. This simultaneously complicates and uncomplicates a lot of things. Alright, I don't want to make any leaps of logic at the moment. Let's move on. Before I had a chance to notice, everything around me had changed. The smells that entered my nostrils, the feeling of the air touching my skin, the temperature, everything had changed. Oh, we do know that the transfer isn't necessarily simultaneous either. Is it? No, wait. It is simultaneous, never mind. It was not simultaneous for the prototype because they weren't doing the time thing. The time bending thing, never mind. The smells that entered my nostrils, feeling the air and touching my skin, the temperature, everything had changed. I was on a bed in a shelter cabin. I was lying down, staring at the ceiling. I'd transferred to Fuyakawa Kokoro's body. Or more accurately, she transferred into your consciousness. Damn, what awful timing. Was Kokoro alright? She transferred right in front of a crazed killer. To what she thinks is another crazed killer, and get stabbed a couple of times until I get the right ending. Or, sorry, get the right path. She transferred right in front of a crazed killer. Just as I'd been about to fall, too. I cursed my own worthlessness. I'm sorry, Kokoro. Please be safe. Don't let him get you. Don't die. Please survive. I prayed fervently, closing my eyes. So I did the only thing I could. I waited for the time I could return to Sphia. I was desperate. If Kokoro dies because of me, this thought made me sick to the heart. I took off my wristwatch and checked the time. Present time, 6:45 p.m. In 33 minutes. 33 minutes I can go back. When I do, I can save her. Assuming she's still alive. As long as 33 minutes I'd ever experienced. I was able to contain myself. I had to do something. That's right! It dawned on me. I reached into my pocket. Took out the voice recorder. What I can do for her now is leave a message for her. I have to explain what's going on so she'll understand everything when she safely returns. I push the record button. Kokoro, at this very moment I'm being chased through Sphia. I ended up jumping here right after I was attacked. I'm begging you, please make it out safely. Damn it, not being able to do anything is so irritating. If your personally end up dying because of me, I don't know what if I ever be able to apologize to you. I don't even mind if I lose an arm. Please be safe somehow, Kokoro. I'd spoken with a tone so desperate, it almost sounded like I was throwing up blood. I hit the stop button, jammed the voice recorder back in my pocket. I closed my eyes, stood still, and waited for the time to arrive. I think that Yomogi and Uni tried to talk to me as I waited, but I couldn't hear them. I'm begging you. Please be alright, Kokoro. That was all I could think about. Finally, 33 minutes passed. Whatever happened to, I need to solve the problems of the places I'm at? Fatal. The scenery shifted before my eyes. I had transferred to Sphia. I was still in the basement storeroom. I was frozen in place right in the middle of it. My body was still safe. Kokoro had somehow made it through the danger. I didn't feel any pain in particular. I felt something cold for some reason, but it didn't seem to be injured anywhere. Thank you, Kokoro. No words could possibly express just how grateful I am to you. I couldn't even imagine how I could begin to thank her for this. At any rate, I'm so glad it's over. The tension I felt disappeared in an instant. Eventually, my focus shifted to my inner musings to my current surroundings. I gave my body a once-over. Strange. Something strange. What is it? That's right. My left hand. My left hand was gripping some foreign object. Something cold and hard. I slowly shifted my gaze to my left hand. At what point did Kokoro pick up a knife? Guys, we have missing time. There are... What? There's missing time now. I don't remember Kokoro ever picking up that knife. And Uni specifically says we stabbed him. What? I was grasping a knife. It was a switchblade Inamoto pulled me out earlier. It was covered in blood. I stared absently at the knife. What does it mean? 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 So I managed to still my shaking hands and took stock of my surroundings. Inamoto was lying face down on the floor. He wasn't moving. His head was turned to the side, his eyes were wide open, his face bore a look of anguish. I changed something. That's potentially true as well? I don't know if that fits. A pool of blood was steadily growing beneath him. There was no doubt he was dead. He's dead. No, he's been murdered. By whom? Isn't it obvious? The person was in my body while I was at Mount Kokura. Kokoro. Kokoro was the one who killed him? Kokoro. But Inamoto was about to kill Kokoro as well. It was a perfectly legitimate act of self-defense. Unavoidable. That's right, she had no other choice. She's innocent. She's not at fault here. That's what I wanted to believe. I turned my eyes to Inamoto's corpse. Looking closely, I saw a countless number of stab wounds punched through it, which meant the knife had been thrust into him over and over again. Hey, even in self-defense, there's no need to go this far. From those stab wounds, I sensed not an attempt to evade danger, but a clear intent to kill. But why? Is that woman known as Fukuha Kokoro really this kind of person? There's really time missing. Yeah, there's time missing. Like with the ripped up newspaper, maybe I was wrong about my assumption. Somebody is doing something in between the transfers. Hijacking personality. We didn't kill anyone as Kokoro. That's for damn sure. And nobody got actively stabbed when we were Kokoro in any of the normal process. I didn't know. Kokoro, my partner. At that moment I felt a little scared of her. And just as that thought entered my mind, something crossed in front of me. Huh? I was too slow to notice it. Whoever had just entered had suddenly grabbed the knife out of my hand. What? Who's there? I looked frantically around. Hi, Hattori. It was Hattori. Her entire body was covered in blood. Her arms, clothes, and face were all dyed a deep red. Had Hattori been standing right next to Inamoto when it happened? Inamoto had blood after all. A large quantity of blood had probably gushed out over him when he was stabbed. In other words, she'd been showered in Inamoto's blood. That's probably how it was. Hattori had snatched the knife away from me, held it in both hands, was playing with it like a favorite toy. Hey! An eerie smile formed on Hattori's lips. Remnants of Inamoto's blood were beginning to drip from the knife and onto her hands. Stop it, that's dangerous! Give it back! Hattori wouldn't listen to me. She lifted the knife high in outstretched hands as though offering up an object of worship. Blood. The blood was dripping. Dripping, dropping down. Staining the concrete floor. Marking it with crimson circles. Her actions were extremely unsettling. Hey! Hattori slowly lowered the knife. What is it? Isatara, which do you prefer? She looked at me with suspicion in her eyes. They were ever so slightly moist, wet and shimmering. Chills thrummed in my spine. Hey, which one? What do you mean? I mean, to stab or to be stabbed? Which do you prefer? I'm really hoping this is a euphemism. Because if it's not, I'm a little worried. I definitely. Then Hattori's voice faded out. What? The right answer is to be stabbed, just FYI. Now I really hope it's a euphemism. A transfer. The phenomenon that I'd pretty much been expecting to happen, happened. For the time being, both Kokoro and I were safe. Really? You consider that situation safe? But there's a dead man there, too. Inamoto Naoya. He'd been killed by Kokoro's consciousness. Assumption! But in reality, it was my body that had hacked him up like that. The one holding the knife was me. I'm glad I was saved, but the outcome was rather horrible. It left a bad taste in my mouth. After I saw his dead body, I ended up at the shelter cabin. I wasn't terribly unsettled. I couldn't just shift my mood right away after I arrived. Lynn was in front of the stove. She was wrapped up in blankets, shivering. In the corner of the cabin, I saw Yomogi sitting atop a bunch of firewood. There was a lot less of it now. Where was Uni? I was around the room looking for him. Uni was standing behind me. He was looking up at me with a serious face. It seems as though the time has come, huh? With that, he left the cabin. No one tried to stop him. Time has come. Enomoto's anguished face had been buried burned in my mind. I still felt the slippery sensation of blood in my palms. I couldn't shake it off. I was anxious about Uni. After hesitating for a while, I decided to follow him. After again making sure my palms were clean, I put my hand on the door, quietly opened it. It was clear outside. The whole sky was hung with bright stars. Present time, 8:09 p.m. The moon hadn't yet risen. Satoru! You're Satoru, right? I lived just beside the entrance. Uni descended down the path in front of me and stood there. I nodded silently before joining him. I never did answer that question from last night, did I? That's right. Hearing Uni bring up the topic himself was a little perplexing. He stared up at the twinkling stars with an expression of ultimate understanding on his face. It's just as you said. I came from the year 2012. Huh? You're not surprised? Yeah, I was kind of expecting it after all. Then would you be surprised if I say this? I haven't transferred even once. What? No, it's better to say we. Me and the other me at Sphia. Why didn't that occur to me? Of course, it makes perfect sense. He was away from the cabin. Because the area transferred and it only was a specific area, he didn't need to be near the cabin. So all he had to do was make sure he was away from Sphia when the transfer was going to occur. And so him in 2011 was at the plane crash when the transfer occurred. So when the transfer did occur and swapped everything, him at the plane crash found Sphia. Him that was at Sphia found the cabin. That makes perfect sense. Why didn't that occur to me? That means any object that was from the future was definitely on Uni's person. Or at the very least left out. Of course, it makes perfect sense. Why didn't that occur to me? Ah! Me and the other me at Sphia. Unlike Satoru and Kokoro, we haven't been transferring over and over again. But you've at least switched once, haven't you? No, we never switched. Not even once. My current consciousness is from the year 2012. My current body is from 1 year in the future. Hey, wait a minute. I've kind of lost his voice. Give me a sec. Then why is the future you here? Satoru? Try touching the snow. Snow? Yeah. As he told me, I bent over and touched the surface of snow. Smooth, powdery flakes. As if it had fallen only moments before. Right up until now, it was snowing around the shelter cabin. A whole lot of it, too. The snowstorm. Now you mention it. The snowstorm. Snowstorm. Damn it! I've lost his voice! Kokoro. Damn it. Kokoro. Getting it. A little bit. Now you mention it, I'm going to anime protagonist and not enough, Uni. Now you mention it, I finally remembered something. Enomoto's words. It's not a personality exchange you two are undergoing. Personalities aren't what's being transferred. What's really being transferred is space. Space itself is being transferred. To be specific, the space that leaves through time is transferred. In other words, it's a space-time transfer. Wait, please wait, let me get this all straight in my head. Tapping at my temples, I walked around in circles in the snow. Eventually I came to a halt and spoke. I see, that's right. This is Eusagi Island. If you climb that small hill, there's an ocean before you. The moon isn't up yet. It should look more like last quarter moon now that the waning gibbous moon, but if what Enomoto said is true, then my consciousness remained at Eusagi Island unmoving. For was transferred into space itself, which means that only this 110-meter circle around us with the shelter cabin at its core was out in Akakura. That's why soft powdery snow like this is here. That's right. But that doesn't have anything to do with my question, right? This is what I asked you. Why is the future you here even though you've never transferred? Don't you know? I'm asking because I don't know. I see. The truth is, these two things have everything to do with each other. And with that, he started explaining. In summary, it was like this. If you think about it, the solution is extremely simple. First of all, until now, I had thought the very first transfer occurred on January 11th between 8 and 9. It seems it wasn't actually the case. Before that, just once, one complete cycle of the space-time transfer had occurred. It was just a little after 5 p.m. on the evening of the 11th. At the time, there wasn't anyone inside Mount Akakura's shelter cabin. Yomogi, Lin, and Kokoro hadn't reached it yet, and then a space-time transfer occurred. The Sphia at 2012 had jumped back into the Mount Akakura of 1 year ago, and the Mount Akakura of 2011 jumped ahead to Asogi Island 1 year later. At the time, Uni of the year 2012, the Uni standing in front of me right now, was on the coast of Aosogi Island. He knew the transfer was going to happen beforehand, entered the shelter cabin alone, and was transported. I got it right, but I'm still mad at myself for taking so long to get that. In the meantime, what was happening at Mount Akakura 1 year ago? The crash of Flight 18 occurred after 4 p.m. The Uni of the year 2011, Sphia's Uni, had been thrown out of the snowfield and was wandering alone in the storm. Shortly before 5 p.m., he'd wandered in Mount Akakura's circle. What he found there was Sphia. There should have been a large wall around it. But the Mount Akakura circle was surrounded by a slightly elevated hill. The summit of the hill and the top of the wall were about the same height. I was going to point that out. As a result, Uni had tumbled down the wall. Though the swirling snow, he saw a white-walled structure in the distance. Marshalling his fleeting consciousness, he managed to reach the building and take shelter there. And then he entered the empty room near the kitchen. Time passed, and a little after 5 p.m., Sphia returned to Aosogi Island with the Uni of 2011 still inside. At the same time as sold to the shelter cabin, the Uni of 2012 was transported to the frozen Mount Akakura. After that, nothing particularly strange had happened. The two Unis, with their original consciousness still in their bodies, had ridden across the boat known as space. That's what he meant by never having transferred even once. Although more accurately, he had never separated his consciousness even once. In truth, he had traveled back and forth with that space transferred between 2011 and 2012. Now then, there's still one important matter. A newspaper. Why a newspaper from the future exists inside the shelter cabin? Uni had the answer to that as well. I brought it with me. I brought it with me. Damn it. I brought it with me. When he'd entered the shelter cabin, Uni of the year 2012 brought along a newspaper printed on July 4th with him. Well, are you satisfied now? Yeah, to a certain extent. But there's still some things I don't understand. Like what? Why do you know so much about Sphia? You haven't noticed yet. The me standing here right now is the me that was discovered by a rescue team on January 17th. The me who had narrowly avoided being caught by an avalanche. I know that! And 1 year after that, you'll go to the coast of Aosogi Island. Then on January 11th, 2012, there'll be another transfer at 5 p.m., and you'll be inside the shelter cabin when it jumps up from Aosogi Island. But wait, something's off. If things continue like this, the Uni here will be found by the rescue team on January 17th again. It'll just keep going around in circles and become an infinite loop. Should I give you a hint? I know everything that happened in Sphia. From the 11th to the 17th, I know everything that happened within those 7 days. In other words, the me from the future is the me from the past. What do you mean? Uni only laughed softly and couldn't answer. I wasn't sure where he got it, but he was holding a single feather in the palm of his hand. A soft, downy white feather. January 15th, the 5th day. Give me a moment. Okay, that explains a lot about Uni, but it doesn't explain why he knows what he does in the sense of why he's doing this. Unless the time loop causes a perfect time, a perfect time loop wherein he has to know what's going on because his future self did it. Yeah. I woke up. It wasn't a slow, gentle awakening, but a sudden jerk as if I had been shaken. I was curled up in the corner of the kitchen, lying flat on the floor. I didn't know what had happened. My body felt boneless, like a rubber doll's, my limbs too laden and senseless to even make smallest movements. Transfer? My body unconscious as it slowly returned. It could probably return the moment I fell asleep in the cabin. Kokoro had woken up at Sphia within the past 33 minutes, and then... And what happened after that? Why did my body feel so heavy? It can't be. Did someone do this to me? For the time being, I decided to look around. I tried to coax some response from my limbs so I could get up. My legs were unsteady, and I swayed dangerously, so I tried to stand and failed. Slowly as melting butter, I slid powerlessly back to the floor. I couldn't move even the slightest after that. All the muscles in my body felt flaccid, and when I tried to call out for help, my tongue got tangled in itself. I couldn't speak a word. Collapsed on my back, I stared at the ceiling. It was shrinking further and further in distance until it was no larger than a grain of rice. The room had stretched itself into a gigantic tower, high enough to brush the heavens. It was trapped by the far end of an ever-lengthening corridor. So what was happening to my body? Even when faced with such a wondrous vision, my consciousness still had a comparatively strong grip on reality. It was a rather eerie feeling. The inside of my mind was so clear, then why couldn't my body move? Why was I seeing these visions? I tried to analyze the situation calmly. First of all, aside from the wound on my arm from 3 days ago, it wasn't in any pain. It didn't look like I had been hit or strangled, nor was I bleeding profusely. I just felt a sensation of nausea coming from my stomach. My throat was numb and stinging. What had Kokoro drunk or had been forced to drink? Since this was a medical facility, it wouldn't be odd for the drugs with hallucinogenic properties to be stored here. She got you high! But why? Anyway, I can't do anything unless I get my body to move. If I just lay here on the floor like a rubber doll and never figure out what happened. And even with that said, what am I supposed to do? For now, should I try throwing up the contents of my stomach? The absence of pain was very likely an indicator my current condition could be fatal. It's good that I managed to work that out, but it's almost impossible to vomit while laying face up. If I wasn't even capable of lifting my arm a few millimeters to stick my finger to my throat, nothing could be done. My breathing was labored, and I was able to inhale and exhale. My mouth was full of saliva. Probably because my throat was paralyzed, I couldn't swallow or spit it out. It overflowed from the corner of my mouth and ran along my cheek. I must look so pathetic right now. At the thought, a warm tear fell from the corner of my eye. It wasn't a tear of frustration. It's just a physiological phenomenon. The past few minutes since my transfer till now, I had yet to blink even once. A beam of light entered my eyes. It was too bright, I was blinded. Multicolored light spun in a rainbow circle like spinning fireworks. The sparks turned into particles of pure white, fluffy snow came floating down. The endless corridor stretching above me began a shaking, swaying dance. A swarm of white flakes split into 3 whirling spirals and disappeared. From them, 3 snow fairies appeared. The tiny fairies slowly opened and began to flap their shimmering wings. They wore no clothes, but a red mark could be seen on their inner thighs. They had to frolic and play like children. What the hell? A foul stench pierced my nostrils and rose to consume me. I saw a series of wondrous scenes paraded before me. A panoply of chaos, which, while grotesque, had a mysterious radiance within. Thoroughly enchanted, I began to forget myself. Adrift in a thick, stinking, strangely beautiful blackness, I slowly began to feel ecstasy eating away at my body. And still the ceiling soared on, further and further. Well, it might be that the ceiling was getting any further away, but me instead. My melting body was being swallowed up by the floor. Sinking into an infinitely deep chaos, slowly sinking until I was subsumed. You're on one hell of a trip, dude. Antidote. Thanks. I feel a lot better now. After what felt like an eternity in a comatose state, I finally regained the ability to move and had gotten in the living area. With my hand on the wall for support, I felt like an old man. Acting tough, are we? Are you still trying to play the hero even after everything that's happened to you? Yutsubi's words stung. She probably still held a grudge against me. Even so, when I collapsed in the kitchen this morning, she was the one who carried me back to my room. She was the one who'd given me the antidote to neutralize the effect of the drug. The antidote was supposed to be stored deep inside a dark little room where Enomoto had been hidden. Of course, this wasn't first-hand information. Yutsubi told me all this just before. At any rate, she hadn't abandoned me. I was completely defenseless while I was out, but she didn't use that opportunity to attack me. On top of all that, she was nursing me back to health. I couldn't understand Yutsubi's true intentions. Leaning against the window, I let out a sigh. Took my wristwatch out of my pocket. Current time was 2 p.m. It'll take at least 12 hours for the chemical to completely leave your body. Sumi continues, standing in front of me. You collapsed in the kitchen at 8 a.m. Now it's 2 p.m. 2 p.m. 5 minutes passed. Well, that would mean it's only been 6 hours. That's right. Why don't you just rest quietly until then? Will you sing me a lullaby? Don't be silly. You're probably trying to show me that I'm healthy enough to joke, right? No, I'm serious. Don't strain yourself. I'm not. Even though your face is all twisted like that? Yeah, I was born that way. Then try squeezing my hand. Saying that, she extended her arm out to me. I placed my hand over hers. I asked you to squeeze it. That's just touching, right? Even if she said that, there was nothing I could do. My fingertips wouldn't do as I told them. I was finally able to flex my fingers just enough to make a fist. Harder? Sorry. Mine went somewhere else. I was in no condition to be making such fine adjustments. That's right, as Tsumi had said, I was acting tough. Every muscle in my body had relaxed, as though they'd been transformed into jelly or yogurt. By putting my entire body weight against the window, I was somehow able to stay standing, but I felt like I'd fall over if someone so much as breathed on me. And this was 6 hours after I collapsed in the kitchen. Thankfully, I wasn't seeing any more of those weird visions, but my body still felt completely limp. Can we consider this a handshake of reconciliation? Don't try to fool me. If you can't squeeze it, then say so. I kept silent. What was Tsumi thinking right now? I tried to sense her thoughts in the warmth of her hand. Was she still harboring murderous thoughts against Hattori? The very same Hattori was now sitting in one of the dining room chairs chatting with Uni? I couldn't make out their conversation before, but I could see them well enough. Hattori and Uni, of course, were both safe. The anniversary of Junichi-kun's death, the 14th, had already passed. Even so, it wasn't as though Utsumi's grudge had been wiped itself clean. Furthermore, even though it was currently in no condition to stop her, it looked as though she hadn't laid a hand on Hattori. Why? I had no idea what Utsumi was thinking. However, it looked as though she felt the same. I have no idea what you're thinking. She shook her head as though flustered and gently released my hand. Hey, who was it who made Kokoro take the drug? I asked as clumsily rubbed my numb hands. I have no idea. It's not like I saw what happened. Could she have taken it herself? Kokoro did? There's an empty bottle on the kitchen floor. If someone had forced her to take it, they would have left evidence with them, right? I didn't think it was necessarily the case. Well, whatever. I can think about that later. What kind of drug was inside the bottle? I still don't know details. That's right, I haven't told you yet. Glancing discreetly over at Hattori, Utsumi opened the door to their terrace. She stepped outside. Maybe she didn't want Hattori to hear? I followed after Utsumi. The sky was refreshingly clear. There was no wind, and the sun hanging in the western sky threw bright sunlight down at us. Despite the fact that I was in my pajamas, I couldn't feel cold. And again, that would have to do more with my paralyzed nerves than the actual temperature. Cold air felt invigorating against my dulled body. There are actually 2 empty bottles, Tsumi said as her exhalations turned to white vapor. 1 bottle of DMT, and 1 more containing a solution of Harmine and Harmaline. Have you heard of it before? DMT, I mean. No. DMT? Dimethyl tryptine. Fuck! DMT is a substance classified as one of the most powerful hallucinogenic drugs. As for Harmine and Harmaline, you've probably heard of them before. They're the MAO inhibitor. The MAO inhibitor? Same as what the rat ate. Yes, the chemical that killed it. Tsumi had said it outright, but I couldn't quite wrap my mind around it. Inside my head, I could still see the rat writhing in anguish on the dining area floor. Why had Kokoro introduced such a dangerous drug into my body? Normally, simply ingesting DMT wouldn't be enough to cause hallucination on its own. The oxygen from the monoamine oxidation agent naturally has the body to destroy the active ingredient in DMT. It breaks down tyramine the same way, after all. However, it's a different story when it's used together with Harmine and Harmaline. The MAO inhibitor suppresses the oxygenating ability, hindering the metabolism of DMT. As a result, the hallucinogenic chemical remains in the blood. That's it. But I don't understand. What? Anything. For the sake of argument, let's say Kokoro really did take the medication herself. Why would she do that? Didn't she know there was an MAO inhibitor when she took it? No! Why would she know anything about this? Even if she did she really understand how dangerous it could be? And then... Sorry. So he's asking you that, is there? That might not be entirely true. I've said maybe she took it herself before, but it might be the other two forced her to. One of them? In other words, you mean Notori, right? Utsumi didn't answer. She walked away from me as though trying to evade the question. Quietly bending down, she dipped her hand in the snow and collected it on the terrace. I'm repeating myself, but I don't intend to cause you any trouble. Please understand. I responded with a question aimed at the hunchback. And that means you're still going to. And you're still going to try to stop me? She tried to kill you. She tried to kill you, you know. She removed her hand from the snow. Patting it dry, she approached me. Even if it was Satori who gave her the drug, you don't know whether she intended to kill me or not, right? If she was trying to kill me, she wouldn't have needed DMT. Besides, you told me 2 days ago, right? If you don't eat anything for 48 hours, the MAO inhibitor won't have any effect. I haven't eaten anything at Sphia for more than 2 days now. I think Satori knows that too. I wonder. That girl has DID, you know. She wouldn't know anything when she's not dominant personality at the time. Dominant personality. Dominant, my bad. Those words grabbed me. But hasn't only the Hattori personality appeared in Hinobushi Keigo for the past few days? If that's the case, then a different personality could have assumed control without my knowledge. It's the same with you. With me? You don't remember anything when you become Fuyukawa-san, right? Think about it. Instead of you, if Fuyukawa-san had eaten the food containing tyramine, I would have died. That's how it is. But I'm alive right now, aren't I? What's important is whether the possibility exists. Do you know what the willful negligence is? It's a mental state in which, while not consciously intending to do any harm, careless actions can in fact result in it. Even if there was no clear intent to kill, it might have been that she really didn't care if you die. I can't. No, Candor, it's a miracle that you're alive right now. It's only a coincidence that you didn't eat anything, right? Or am I wrong? You should think about this very carefully. Sumi bent over, trying to scoop up more snow. She picked up a handful and flung it away, tracing its arc with her eyes. There was no wind, and a thin mist of snow drifted like a veil in the air. It's gotten colder. Let's go back. Without waiting for a reply, Utsumi disappeared into the building, leaving me behind. I scooped the snow just as Utsumi had. I tried to grasp it, but just as before, my fingers were completely numb. After returning to my room, I tottered over my bed and flung myself down. DMT, the MAO inhibitor. Did Hattori make Kokoro take it? Or was it Kokoro herself? Why? To what end? Willful negligence? If that was the case, then who had willfully done it? Incoherent thoughts flittered through my head. Last night, the man calling himself an Emoto had died. The idea that Emoto being the one trying to kill me did pass through my mind, but the MAO inhibitor. Assuming that my body consuming it was a result of wolf negligence, then just like before, someone trying to kill me. Was that it? If so, there's no way that Emoto could have done it. That would mean there was a chance that Emoto had been completely uninvolved in the past attempts on my life. Was the true culprit elsewhere? Without a sigh. I had to leave a message for Kokoro. Even one line would be fine. Who was it that made you take the drug? The moment I decided to do that and went up to get up. Body swap! Oh, the special body swaps! Miracle Child. Dense ocean current coiled around me as if to lap over my whole body. I felt as if we were being embraced by the sea teeming with coercive. I've had this dream before. Primordial sea. I can only tell if my own existence begins or ends. We've seen this before. Doesn't let me skip though, of course. Felt as if a whole vast sea were myself and that there were no single entity in existence here. My surroundings were completely saturated by a dazzling red light, a rhythmic sound, and a sweet scent that felt would dissolve. I felt as though I were drowning in this comfortable warmth. Recollect. Cold. I immediately felt an intense cold cutting through me. A transfer? I understood right away. I and Kokoro's body was curled up on the bed of the shelter cabin, wrapped up in blankets. My arms hugged my shoulders. No matter how much I willed them to, my arms and legs couldn't stop shaking. It was already beyond shivering. I was convulsing spasmodically, and my whole body trembling uncontrollably. The cold assailed me from all sides, rattling my bones and threatening to crush me. Everything in the mind before the transfer, the DMT, the MAO inhibitor, was all blown away in an instant. All that mattered right now was preserving my own life. Everything else was a mere luxury. I had to overcome this. That's what I wanted to do, but my head wasn't working properly. Even my blood was frozen in my veins. No oxygen and nutrient were nourishing my brain. Come on. Calm down. Calm down, calm down. Think, just think. But I'm just thinking about thinking, getting nowhere. Worthless, empty thoughts whirled in my head. Cold, 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 cold. I'm going to lose it for real if this keeps up. I was in a dangerous situation, walking the thin line between reason and instinct. I hung my head and continued struggling against the unwieldy desires biting inside me. A life or death battle. And before long, I felt the temperature inside the cabin raise a little, but only a little. My frozen blood slowly began to flow through my body again. The cold coiled around my spine finally loosened. It was still painfully cold, but somewhat better than before. My mind too gained a little leeway to think. Raising my head, I looked around the room again. My field of vision expanded. I noticed something I hadn't been able to see earlier. Emogi, Lynn, Uni. The first time I realized they were all there. They were scattered around the room and shaking as though they were on the verge of death. If it weren't for their shivering, I would have taken them for dead. Other than that, none of them moved in the slightest. Their pupils were dry and hollow like clouded marbles. Their breath escaping, leered lips were thin, frail, and shallow, as though each one could be their last. I was struck by how much they'd changed. How could they have fallen apart so quickly in one night? What in the world happened to them during a short period? What's wrong? What happened? The cold may have abated, but my numbed lips wouldn't return to normal so easily. Speaking of missing time, guess what else we never saw? Satoru never ate those biscuits. Oh, shit! There is someone else messing with us! There has to be! I completely forgot that was coming up. Or should have already happened, in fact. Fuck! I asked him in a voice as dried out as desert wind, but nobody said anything. Yomogi simply stared back at me with cool, cloudy eyes. What about the stove? Did the fire go out? I crawled frantically out of the bed to confirm it. I opened the door to the stove and peered inside. Only blackened charcoal remained. How did this... What happened to the fuel? Did you chop the table and chairs up for firewood? Yeah, Yukino-kun, I presume. You understand what's going on just by looking, can't you? A cracked voice escaped Yomogi's emaciated body. What's going on? I quietly looked around me. All the firewood had been piled up in the corner of the room was gone. Only the axe leaning against the wall remained. There's nothing left to burn. It's not like we can start tearing down the cabin. His voice brimmed with hopelessness. No way. I peered in the stove again. I reached my hand in to feel the warm charcoal, not a trace of warmth. The cinders were ice cold. 2 more days until the rescue team arrives. In this cabin, having finally run out of fuel, they would have survived 2 more long, cold nights. Can they really hold out until then? They at least had some rations. If only there was something for them to eat somehow. That's right, the rations! You still have rations left, right? I said, turning to face them. Yomogi answered softly. Yeah, just a little. Oh, they still have rations. Where are they? You gonna eat them? No, that's not it. I wanna know how much is left. They should be with you. Me? We entrusted the rations to you. To Fuyakawa-san. When we said that, I rushed back to the bed. The bottom bunk. Legs I'd thrown off earlier were all over the place. When I pulled them back, a cylindrical object rolled into the bed. From the writing on the surface, I knew at a glance that it was a can of hardtack biscuits. I tried opening the lid. It was empty. It's already empty! Somebody's fucking with us! I found nothing resembling food inside. Just countless crumbs all over the bed. What's this? Here's a finger to pick one up. Crumbs of hardtack. What's wrong? I heard from over my shoulder. No, it's nothing. I frantically covered the empty can with the crumbs, and the crumbs with the blanket as a temporary measure. I looked over my shoulder at what I hoped was a calm expression. Mogi inclined his head suspiciously. Before he could notice what was on the bed, I quickly went up and moved away from it. You just saw it just now, right? That's all. We have nothing left to eat. I see. My voice sounded dangerously shrill. Intending to behave naturally, but my throat felt dry and cramped. If I kept talking to him, it'd be all over. I turned away from to crouch in front of the stove. The cold stove held no flame. What the hell? What the hell were you thinking, Kokoro? I screamed in my mind. I covered my face with my palms and furiously scrubbed at it. I didn't want anyone else to see the face I was making. My hands still over my face, I began to think. Somebody is fucking with us. And we'll find out who, hopefully, after our break. So get up, stretch for video to be able to keep watching comfortably. And I will be right back.